Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of Ubuntu, the African philosophical way or approach of life. If you are here for the first time, I want to welcome you to Solomon Ekwaro's YouTube channel. This is a place you need to stop by from time to time to get information, drop comments, learn something new, and see how we can better ourselves and our society. We are all very, very important, and we need to make sure that the value we have, the value we have attached to ourselves, and the value we have for ourselves, all this, plus the attributes, the skills, the talents, the knowledge, everything we have acquired so far up to where we are, we need to make sure we put all this into practice for the betterment of our society and for the betterment of our communities. Ubuntu, as we saw in part 1, I will just mention the points. So in part 1 we saw the introduction, which was basically about what is Ubuntu. Ubuntu, in one word, means humanity. Yes, it means humanity. And when you talk of humanity here, it simply says, I am because we are. I am because we are. So if you missed the first part of this video, please check on my playlist, check on my channel, and you will see the first part of this video. So you will listen to it and you will get more information about what I am talking about. The next thing we discussed in part 1 was the fact that man needs his fellow man to function completely, to function correctly, and to function fully. Without Eve, Adam would not have functioned correctly while in the Garden of Eden. As soon as Eve appeared, Adam was different. He expressed himself in ways that the beings that were around the garden at that time had never seen before the arrival of Eve. So the third point we talked about was the philosophical perspective of Ubuntu. We mentioned that universal bond that connects all of humanity into one big circle. And in the middle of that circle, there was man. Man, according to Ubuntu, man is very valuable. Man is important. Man has value. And when we talk of value, we are now looking into very, very unique attributes which only man can present, only man can manifest, not even a machine. Man manifests respect, compassion, dignity. No machine on earth can manifest dignity. No way. Man manifests acceptance. There is communality all around man. He is made, created to be able to operate in a community with others. Man displays humaneness. No machine can do this. We are very different. Co-responsibility, morality, personhood. This is a key point. Personhood. That is where all the values of man stay. So we looked at these points, and when we talk of personhood, that is where all the values were buried. Part 1 was very enriching. It gave us the opportunity to ask ourselves some questions, and I'm going through the comments that have been made based on what reactions the viewers left behind. I am happy with them. I'm inspired. It's given me the opportunity to look into new content in those areas. I want to thank you all. As we progress If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I want to invite you this time to please subscribe to my channel. Hit the button, ring the bell. The bell will give you an opportunity to be notified each time there's a new video uploaded. Apart from that, when you subscribe, you become part of this family and make it easy for us to work together. Please always leave a comment. My take on this subject of Ubuntu is that if we in the world today practiced Ubuntu, the ways of Ubuntu, the philosophy of Ubuntu, if we allowed the spark, the divine spark of goodness in us to manifest, if we allow ourselves to show those values, those unique qualities that we have, if we allow interdependence as it was created in the very beginning to be, if we allow ourselves to work with each other, irrespective of race, irrespective of gender, no matter where we come from, our social status, our lifestyle, irrespective of who we are, if we follow the principles of Ubuntu, we stick to the values and to the rules, I bet you the world will be a better place. As we continue to watch, we will go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be stepping right into point number 4 on the Ubuntu checklist. Thank you and stay tuned. Thank you very much. As we step on to the third point, here we're looking at the principle of Ubuntu. First, we saw how it was important for person to meet, because humans are social animals and the need for them to bond. Then we saw the importance of the value of the human being. And now we're looking at the principle. Now, when we talk of the principle of Ubuntu, what are we looking at? This is the divine spark, that spark of goodness which is inherent in each human being, the essence of human being, and the link with divinity. So we'll go through that again. It is the divine spark of goodness which is inherent. It is inborn. It is there. That divine spark of goodness which is inborn, which is inherent in every human being. That is the essence of humanity, and that is the principle of Ubuntu. This principle has guided Africans for centuries, from time immemorial. African societies have been governed by this principle. They believe that every human being, after being valuable, has an element of goodness. And this goodness is rooted deep down in that person and manifests it manifests itself through the expressions of love, truth, peace, happiness, this eternal optimism. Okay, so inside that person there is a spark of goodness. That spark of goodness is that gift from the divine bestowed in that human, and that spark manifests itself in the form of truth, love, in the form of peace, happiness, optimism, not just optimism, eternal optimism, so firm, so strong, There are people like that and more. Love is so important. If person A has to meet with person B, for them to work together, for them to better express themselves, there has to be respect, as mentioned in the values. There has to be integrity. There has to be love. Now, you cannot just say to someone, I love you, and that is it. No. Love, I think we'll visit this in a different session. Love is best said without words. Love is best said without words. The respect you show, the peace you present, the happiness you let to flow into the environment, the humility that you bring forth. Those small steps that you take to do good things to the other person without looking back, without thinking. You just keep doing one good from doing things, little pieces of goodness. Little good here, little good there, little good here, little good there, like that. When put together, all these little pieces of goodness that you're displaying and dropping on the table, when we chain them up all, this manifests as love. That is love. You show it, you present it. We will look at this in a different session. Man is a social animal. There is value on the human life. And there's a spark of goodness in human beings. We will come back to you. Thank you. We now move over to the golden rule section of the word Ubuntu. And this has to do with the practice of Ubuntu. I am who I am because of who we are. This sentence highlights the element of human interdependence. Interdependence, which means if you are not there to do your part of the bargain, I won't be able to perform my part from here. Now, if you reverse it, it will say, if I am unwilling to do my part of the movement towards you and presentations and take on my duties and responsibilities, it will be difficult for you to do your part. Therefore, there is this inbuilt element of human interdependence. Human interdependence. It's very, very important. So, when you practice Ubuntu, on the other side, as it is said in the Western world, it will be, do unto others as you would want them do unto you. You move 2 steps, the other person moves 2 steps. You go half a mile, you expect them to go half a mile. Co-responsibility, which is a key value in the practice of Ubuntu. Now, African societies for a long, long time had grown in an environment where this philosophy was greatly applied. And when this philosophy of Ubuntu was applied, there were a lot of social benefits. People hardly had the shortages in terms of political space, economic space, or social space. people shared what they had, following a certain system of needs and wants. In every area that this philosophy was applied, there were a lot of socio-cultural benefits to those communities. And just around the period of independence, around the 1960s, when Africans were going through the period of decolonization, and you had nationalists who were coming up in different countries to lead their people. Like in Tanzania, there was Julius Nyerere. You had Modibo Keita in Mali. There was in Senegal, there was Leopold Sedar Senghor. There was Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana. You had Sekou Touré in Guinea. Now, these are some of those African nationalists, leaders, who were willing to see that Africans are governed based on this policy or philosophy of Ubuntu. Now, they had a way of redistributing the economic wealth in a way that was founded on the principle of Ubuntu. In the rural communities where they started up already, especially their hometowns, the villages where they came from, their counties and things like that, these applications were very, very successful. And in a very short time, these people I mentioned became household names in their times. Now, as the system of practice became nationwide, like throughout Ghana, Tanzania, Senegal, the way the West could explain it was that it was a form of socialism. Hence, it was called African socialism. But there has to be a distinction here. African socialism is completely different from Marxism. Completely different. I want to thank you for the time you've had here with me. I know you have a lot of questions, a lot of things popping up your mind, and you may have more things, more ideas to build up on this, to maybe ask more, to get more clarity, or to present a counter argument or a counter presentation, not an argument, because what I'm saying is what has been in existence and what is happening. So to present a counter, to do a counter presentation on how alternative methods can work. So to recap on all these, we have looked at Ubuntu as a word, humanity, the focus being on humanity and the need for humans to work with each other, to work together. We have looked at Ubuntu as well as a kind of philosophy, an African philosophy that had been in existence for a long time. And as a philosophy, there is the display of values. So there is an element of value. So you have a lot of values, and these values have to do with respect, compassion, dignity, co-responsibility, morality. Now, these are all some of the values that are attached to Ubuntu. There is no way you will be willing to work with someone and you won't be ready to respect them. You won't be ready to do your part of the bargain. You won't be ready to show compassion or honor your work for it. So the element of value is of great importance when practicing Ubuntu. We also looked at the Ubuntu as a principle. So in terms of principle, we saw it as a divine spark, which is that spark of goodness, which is inherent in every human being. In fact, it is the essence of a human being. So we saw the principle there. This whole thing about the spark of goodness is deeply rooted to core values like truth, like love, happiness, peace, optimism, inner goodness. For you to express this, or to be part of Ubuntu or practice Ubuntu as a philosophy, as a way of life, you need to express and manifest this. You need to follow these principles. We've also seen that looked at Ubuntu as a rule. Of course, there's a golden rule in Ubuntu, and that golden rule stipulates that there is an element of interdependence. Yes, I am me, but there are things I am me, but for me to function 100%, I need you. For you to function 100%, you need me. For me to be able to accomplish this task, I need your support from that end. For me to do my task, to fulfill my assignment on earth, I need you to be there. I need your support. I need your backing. I need your hand on my shoulder. I need a shoulder to cry on. I need someone to lean on. I need, all these things. We need someone. So there is interdependence between humans. Now, we also discussed about Ubuntu being practiced many years ago, long ago in Africa, and how it manifested itself in the form of African socialism, as was called by the Western world, which is completely different from Marxism. So this whole thing about African socialism was arranged in such a way that it flowed very, very easily because of the way the traditional setups were in African communities. The redistribution of wealth and economic resources was smooth and moved very, very easily at that level. This made it difficult for capitalism to be planted and for it to spread wide and take over the place as it is today. And to tell you something, it is the presence of, or the practice of 100% capitalism, as opposed to the foundations in African communities of the practice of African socialism that has, or that is, one of the foundations of what we now have today. A great ill, a great problem, a great disease. And what is that disease? Tribalism. Tribalism. The shift from African socialism to capitalism. Tribalism came up. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really happy you had all this time to spend with me. It's a thing of pleasure. Please remember, hit the subscribe button, just there, here. Subscribe so that you'll be part of this family. You'll be there to share information with us as well through the comment section. Drop your comments, subscribe and be part of us. Click the notification sign. There's a small bell down there, right there, down there. Click on this bell so that each time we put on something new, you'll be aware of it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As you go out there, please remember, be good to the people you meet. Be nice to the people you meet. Practice Ubuntu. Tell the world by showing. Tell someone you love them by showing them that you love them. Tell someone that you are compassionate by an action. Tell someone you respect them by your action. Use this less. Here, use this less and your hands more, and use this more. Tell people who you are by your actions. If we practice Ubuntu and put a lot of emphasis on the principle of goodness that's back in us, and look into the values that are inherent in us, and look at this key rule which says, do to others what you want them to do unto you. If we follow all this, the world will be a better place, irrespective of tribe, race, religion, wherever you're coming from, blue, you're black, you're green, you're yellow, whatever it is you may be or you are. Ubuntu, when practiced from inside here, will brighten outwards and take over the world. Ubuntu, the practice of Ubuntu, the philosophy of Ubuntu, an ancient African philosophy, is key. I mean, it's key. I say it again, it's key to the world peace. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I love you all. Stay safe. Be blessed. When you go out there, remember to put on your mask, please. We still have corona cases around. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.